The European Union was one of the primary backers and architects of the Iran nuclear deal. It's an absolutely crucial deal for the EU, and they are desperately trying to persuade the Trump administration to maintain it. They worry that if it falls apart, there will be a deterioration in their immediate security environment because, of course, the EU is closer to the Middle East than the United States, so they feel more affected by developments in the Middle East maybe than Americans do, and they worry that Iran will get the nuclear bomb if they are unconstrained by the deal. President Macron has really decided to get close to Donald Trump, to befriend him, to become one of his closest allies in the world and his closest ally in Europe. He's really doing what Tony Blair and the British have done sort of in the past, sort of a hug them close strategy. And he hopes to be able to use his leverage to convince Trump not to pull out of the deal on May 12th. Chancellor Merkel has a much frostier relationship with President Trump. He's frequently criticized her. They haven't really seen eye to eye, but they have a sort of business-like transactional relationship. And she, I think, will also make the same point and really emphasize the lack of a plan afterwards if the US does pull out of the deal and some of the damage that could occur to US and European interests. If President Trump fails to renew the sanctions waivers and European companies are hit with what's called secondary sanctions, whereby they are penalized for investing in Iran, and then the first thing that we can expect to see is all major European companies leaving the Iranian market in the next few weeks. Major companies like Total and others will leave Iran because they value access to the US market and to US capital more than to Iran. And the second thing that will happen, I think, is that we'll see European countries and governments try to keep Iran in the deal. They'll try to persuade the Iranians that they still benefit from certain basic elements of the deal and they shouldn't withdraw unilaterally. But that's unlikely. That's sometimes what people call a soft exit from the Iran deal. But we expect that Iran will retaliate in some measure. They suggested that they may renew enrichment. They may not do that immediately, but they may kick out inspectors or renege on other parts of the deal, at which point we could see a spiral. And at that point, we're really in uncharted territory. Europeans have no better idea than anyone else what will happen in that scenario. But from their perspective, it's not good because Iran will be better positioned to renew enrichment. It will be hard to reimpose multilateral sanctions. We don't expect that Russia, China and others will go along with something that they will blame the United States for. And we're back to where we were a few years ago, where the question is whether or not to strike or not.